Welcome to the Church in the Wild podcast. You'll be hearing the words from worship from Sunday, June 7th, 2026, where we begin our series on stories and celebrate our 5th anniversary. If you want to learn more about Church in the Wild and all of our upcoming events and programs, just go to churchinthewild.org. Thanks for listening.
So in keeping, by the way, hi, I'm Barb. Hi. And in keeping with the theme of telling our stories, I figured I'd talk about how my love of nature brought me to Church in the Wild and how my relationship with the natural world has deepened since joining. So my first encounter with Church in the Wild was not about me looking for a church connection at all. My partner was a naturalist for the state park system. I was a high school science teacher who taught earth science and biology and environmental science. Basically, I made Bradley what he is today. Okay. And she and I love being in nature, learning about nature, and we're always looking for a good hike. So I saw a post for a first day hike at Sky Lake a few years ago. I don't even know when it was. I'm just saying a few, maybe 3. And when I saw who was sponsoring the hike, I looked up what Church in the Wild was, and it got me really interested. And I was raised Catholic, but didn't consider myself part of that group anymore. And everything that described this church seemed to perfectly fit with what I believed. So after the hike and talking with Corey and going on a saunter, she eventually mentioned that I might like to do the nature connection at worship. And it was about the time that I was retiring, so it was a perfect fit for me. And I still get to research topics that I love and share what I've learned. And I always end up learning so much more than I knew before about some aspect of nature. Trust me, I save you from a lot of the rabbit holes and things that I go down. It may not seem like I do, but I do. So being a part of this church has deepened my spiritual connection to the natural world. When I'm out walking in the woods, I don't just appreciate the trees with my eyes anymore. I'll often put my hands on the trunk of a tree to feel its sturdiness and its strength. I think about what's going on under the surface of that strong trunk, how water is constantly moving upward from the roots through tiny vessels all the way to the leaves at the very top of these high trees. I think about the complicated work of photosynthesis happening in the leaves and the fact that all of the sugar made from that process is moving all throughout the tree to every single cell that needs it for energy. And all of this is going on silently and invisibly. So when no one's around, I'll talk to the tree out loud and tell it how strong it is and what a good job it's doing. And it sounds crazy, but I can actually feel a connection with the tree when I do this. We were in the Virgin Islands a few weeks ago, and since they're volcanic islands, there were giant black rock outcrops of basalt on some of the beaches that were formed from the magma that came from deep, deep, deep below the Earth's surface. I never would have done this in the past before Church in the Wild. But also when no one was around, I put my palms on the surface of the warm rock wall and talked to Mother Earth to thank her. I got a little teary-eyed, in fact, the more I talked and thought about how this rock was once molten magma, so deep down inside the earth. And I thought about how magical it is that when plates collide, the magma makes its way up through fissures and forms these majestic rock formations when it cools at the surface. And I thanked her for allowing me to see it and touch it in person and to see this part of the earth that's normally hidden from view. I haven't had a prayer routine for quite a while now, but over the last few months I started one spontaneously, and I do it intentionally now. When I'm outside mowing or putting the bird feeder up in the morning, I've started looking up to the sky and telling the Creator out loud, all of these are out loud, it works for me, all of the things that I'm thankful for. And when I'm really feeling it, I'll take a line from Andrea Gibson and end my prayer by saying, I love it here. And that might refer to the place I'm in as a person, my home, this planet, this universe, or all of the above. I've always been fascinated by the natural world, but I've never felt as spiritually connected to the cosmos as I have since joining Church in the Wild. And I'll always be grateful to Corey for that. So thank you, Corey, and I love it here.
Thank you. Beautiful story. Thanks for getting us started sharing. So in addition to our nature connection, in the spot you'll see on the program, our belonging ceremony takes place when traditionally we've done this on our anniversary, and then whenever somebody expresses interest in making their belonging official. So I've got the buttons. They're pretty, they're rainbows. And as we say, this is just a way of acknowledging the commitment you've already made by being here on any kind of regular basis. So this doesn't replace a church membership. This is just a way of publicly stating, yes, I am committed and I want to belong to this community. So if you are ready to honor and deepen your commitment to Church in the Wild, please stand or raise your hand at this time. So Bob, Amber, Deanna, and Bill, this ceremony is to recognize and honor the contributions and commitment you've already made to our community. So let us now affirm our commitments. Will you continue to contribute monthly to the well-being of our community with your presence, gifts, and service? If so, say, I will.
I will.
Will you continue to be led by the Spirit, care for creation, and respect the diversity of our community?
I will.
Will you continue to will you actively resist evil and oppression while sharing kindness and grace?
I will.
And lastly, will you live intentionally, bringing restoration to the world? Yes, try. We will try. May you always know the support of our community in the wilds of life. And so I welcome you now to don your button with pride as you have made the public and official belonging, if you want to. Again, it's all optional, right? But welcome.
Hi, I'm Kaden. Our poem today is Patchwork Heart by John Roedel. Is that how you say it? Roedel. Okay.
Just try to speak up over the wind.
All right. My voice got deeper. Vulnerability doesn't mean telling others what happened to us from across a cafe table or from behind a microphone, and then going home from the experience feeling just as alone as you did before. Vulnerability means allowing your human heart blanket to get sewn to other heart blankets. It's about connection. We don't share for status, we do it for synergy. We don't confess for clout, we do it to build community. We tell our tale to invite others to tell theirs. It's the sacred cycle of storytelling. We gather in a circle of trust and say, here's my journey. Then we listen to the other journeys that are shared. We take space, then we give space. We pour, then we absorb. We speak, then we listen. We are storytellers, then we are witnesses. Vulnerability isn't just about grave digging in our past to expose our skeletons. It's about sewing quilts. Here's my patch, here's your patch, here's their patch, here's us, and here is our story.
Hi there, I'm Marcia, and our wisdom today comes from Lisa Cron's TED Furman U talk, Wired for Story. She says, story was more crucial to our evolution than our opposable thumbs, because all opposable thumbs did was let us hang on. It was story that told us what to hang on to. Thank you.
Happy 5 years Oh my goodness. It's really a time warp when I think about it. Because in some ways it's hard to remember life before Church in the Wild. And in other ways, it feels like such a short amount of time. You know, like Church in the Wild is just it's just a little kid, right? It's just 5 years old, just a little sapling of a community. But in this amount of time, whether it feels long or short, depending on how we're looking at it, this circle right here, this gathering, these people have become entirely crucial to my life. Community is a necessary part of life for us all. And I am eternally grateful that this chosen community continues to gather and be a community to each other every week. 5 years ago, we held our first worship circle right here, actually right over on the patio. And that already was the culmination of 2 years of dreaming and bringing the vision of this new kind of community to life. It was actually back in May of 2019 that I was complaining to God on a late night drive home, as you do, right? About like the lack of churches here in this area that we had become committed to. We wanted to stay in Broome County, and just feeling like, where else would I be able to go that I could be my full, authentic, wild self as a leader? I wasn't seeing a good next church to go to, and I had been at my church for about 6 years at that point, and that's when a United Methodist pastor starts thinking about what might be next. And so I was complaining. And that's when I got the very sassy suggestion back from the Spirit that I could start my own church. And I did not want to hear that. That's not something I was thinking about. It was not something I wanted to do. It did not seem fun. It seemed like a lot of work, actually. But that idea wouldn't leave me alone. And after about a month of saying, no, I don't wanna, I heard myself say to some friends and fellow pastors, I just want to be the pastor at Sky Lake. That's really what I want. And as soon as those words struck my own ears, that's when the fireworks went off. And that it really felt like God was like, oh, there it is. It only took you a month. Very good. You figured it out. And that's when I realized, wow, that is actually something I'd want to do. Build a community that met here, that focused on creation. And isn't that such a great opportunity? Aren't so many people looking for that? It just made so much sense. They were starting churches and bars and coffee shops and movie theaters. Why not here at this beautiful place that's not being used much on Sundays, right? It's perfect. So, to my amazement, I discovered this was already happening all over the world. The wild church movement was a thing, and we could just participate in it. We didn't have to recreate the wheel completely. So we started just saying it out loud. I at first went to some close friends, talked to Matt, because without him on board, it was kind of not going to happen, right? And just started saying it out loud. I have this idea, and building a group of people who thought, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And after 2 years and having a baby during a pandemic and all kinds of ups and downs, we had our first worship service here on the first Sunday of June in 2021. And now, 5 years later, I look at our community and just think how much we've been through together. We've grown and shrank. We've meandered our way through all kinds of obstacles and trials and, supporting people through various needs and difficulties, celebrating together. And I still find such deep peace and joy every time we're together. It's so amazing to me because I've said for these past 5 years, when I leave Sunday worship, it's like that high of having done yoga or having gotten a massage. Like I just feel so relaxed, but alive and awake and rejuvenated. And Carol said the exact same thing a few weeks ago, that it's like yoga for the soul or something, a massage for the soul or something like that. And I'm so thrilled that other people have that experience too. So this is my condensed version of my story of Church in the Wild. And our theme for the month of June is going to be stories, our storied life. Because stories are one of the most powerful tools humanity has. Right? We're not the only creatures that use tools, and we might not even be the only creatures that use story as a tool, but we know it is one of the most powerful tools at our disposal. Stories are how we understand ourselves and how we learn things. Stories help us process the past and dream up new futures. I've heard it said that any crisis like climate change or any sort of modern crisis isn't a crisis of information, it's a crisis of storytelling. That we need to tell the stories well and specifically and powerfully as we can to as many people as possible. So whether it's climate change or our own personal struggles, the stories we tell ourselves literally are what shape our reality. As I've been researching more about stories, another person said stories allow us to think and exist beyond the current moment, right? If we didn't have stories, we couldn't tell about the past or think about the future. We'd kind of be trapped in the here and now, which maybe isn't always a bad thing, actually. But stories allow us that freedom to move through time. We can shift our realities even through changing the story. And we patch our stories together, as we heard the poem talking about. We create a shared reality, a community identity, and that becomes our story together, a new collective. And so that's what I want us to do today. If you didn't hear the prompt for the past couple of weeks, we're going to open it up and let people share a few sentence story, similar to how Barb did, about how you came to Church in the Wild and what it's meant to your life, what difference it's made. And so today, what I'm really celebrating is that somehow this dream that the Creator planted has become the container, the magnet for the best people I know. That's you. Feel good about that, right? You're the best people I know. It is so cool how every time a new person comes, they're just sort of drawn in by something, and I get to learn more about them, and I'm like, you are so awesome. I'm so excited you found us, and we're adding you to that patchwork quilt of our community. So that's what I want to know from you today. As we think about our stories and celebrate Church in the Wild, I want to hear your version of your story. What drew you here, and what difference has this community made in your life? And as you can see, there's quite a few people around the circle who might be inclined to share. So as hard as it is, we'll keep it
as brief as we can, right? So everyone gets a turn.
Deanna.
So I came into Church of the Wild because I met Corey in yoga class. And what it's brought to me and how I know I'm supposed to be here is that synchronicities have happened, and also branched out in other people knowing both Corey and where is the gentleman? I didn't realize I knew him from here until he was at my chant yesterday. I don't know where he is, but yeah, so it's kind of weird how many of the same places link up when you start to be around your correct vibration of people. How many of them actually already all know each other. So that's what I found interesting.
Well, so I've been going to Church in the Wild since 2021, and I started going because someone that used to help out, or used to work for this radio station that I volunteer at, invited me, and I like that Church in the Wild is very spiritually open-minded. I can tell you, like, as far as, I think maybe the shortest way to say it is, I gave a little bit of a sermon, rambly, talky type thing about astrology last year, and I can tell you that talking about astrology in a church probably would not have been on my bingo card.
Woohoo!
Yeah!
Thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome.
What drew you? What difference?
And I'm talky, so you know, it'll. I have a 2-page talk. No, I'm kidding. I'm Sue Bennett, and I didn't start the very beginning. I didn't come to the very first services, and I'm a member at the Windsor United Methodist Church, where I've been there pretty much all my life until I left and moved away for a while. But I came back to Windsor and married my high school sweetheart. So we both go to that church, and I'm also the admin there. But I kept hearing about Church in the Wild, and the fact that it was up here, I said, no, I got to check this out. I came here as a kid to camp, and I said, no, if you're going to go and worship the Creator at Sky Lake, I'm here. So I started taking a lot of what we would read, our poems and all, and I had this mantra stuck in my head that from Mary Oliver's poem, Sometimes, and I told this story before. Pay attention. It's instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, and tell about it. So much was missing from my true connection to the amazing wonders of the Creator. Although my mother was a true advocate of nature. She raised all 5 of us children outside. We never killed a bug, you know. We had spiders in jars, and we talked to trees. We hugged trees, yeah, all of that. She was an amazing nature person. My being among a diverse and accepting community as this, of new friends who gather among these wonders every week, it was astonishing to me. The flow of our service, with its music and wisdom, poems, stories, shared nature moments, Pastor Corey's messages of faith and hope, have led me to tell about it wherever I go. And it allows everyone the freedom to worship among the trees and around the water, which are elements of a safe and unbinding environment. I will not share this now, but at maybe another service, we did a poem, Turning to One Another. I save all these, you know. And it was by Margaret Wheatley. But I think we'll share it at another gathering because it totally sums up this wonderful community. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Back in February of 25, my wife died from cancer. And 5 months after that, or 4 months after that, in June, I was coming back from somewhere, and I had Maisie with me, and she leaned forward in the car, and she said, "Hey, Dad, why don't we stop for a pup cup?" I said, "Hey, that's a good idea." So we stopped at Frosty Joe's, and while we were getting ice cream at Frosty Joe's, I happened to see on the bulletin board a little card that said, "Church in the Wild." said, wow. I belong to the Salvation Army. I joined the Salvation Army. I became a soldier, and I go to church there. But the idea of church in the wild really caught my attention. And when I first came, they were meeting in Caldwell, and I was thinking, well, this is kind of strange. But they're just there for the month of July. But this is beautiful. I love this. This is real. And I'm very happy and glad to be connected here. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Kaden. I didn't go to the very first services, but the year, right, you guys started, I started coming. I remember my first one distinctly. We were up on this porch and we were gathered around, and it was a nature moment, and it was about mushrooms, and people had hula hoops, and then on the hula hoops were threads connected to each of the hula hoops, showing how the underground works. I don't know, I just remember being blown away, and I was like, where am I? I was like, wow, I was like, where am I right now? No, at that time I was going, I feel like I'm always going through it, but I was going through a really hard time. I lost a lot of my friends. My grandmother died in 2020, who was really close to me. And then it kind of, around 2020, I also got, I was also sober. Still am. I partake a little bit, but this really kept me on track. It was to me, every Sunday was something to look forward to. And then I just started meeting these are my friends, these are the people I see each week. So it's been cool. It's gotten me through major life events, deaths, ups, downs, good times, bad times. And yeah. So 5 years been here.
Yep, you have. Thank you. Yeah, Chris.
I'm an academic. I've been a professor for seminary, and in my readings and stuff, I got really caught up in Celtic Christian theology. And then I actually studied under Phyllis Tickle with the emergent church movement. And, the small churches you're talking about meeting in different places. And then I was out in Colorado before this church started. I read a book called Church of the Wild. And it really got my attention. I thought, this is cool. Now, I'm full-time as a corrections chaplain. It's noisy, nasty, very institutional. And when this opened up, I was here day one. Yeah, and this is a connection for me, because I'm an avid environmentalist. I get really annoyed when churches just kind of bulldoze through dominion theology, they call it. Basically, mine it, melt it, chew it up, sell it, and it. So this fits my MO big time, and I serve on the Environmental Justice Committee for the State Council of Churches too. So this is connection on multiple levels for me. And I come in on Sunday after being in the jail all week, and this is just great. Yeah, I love this. I won't miss it.
Yeah, the one picture we have of the first Sunday, because I don't know why, you and Brad, I think, are right here standing to sign in. I love it. Anybody else? Yeah, Missy, tell us.
Hi, Missy. So I found Church in the Wild by coming to a yoga retreat 3.5, 4 years ago. And it was sponsored by Church in the Wild, I think, maybe. So then it made me research a little bit. And when I got here and met Corey, that was it. We had that connection. When I learned more about it, I have a church camp background as a director and program coordinator, and this was the perfect fit for me. And I make the trek from Pennsylvania every so often, but I watch on Zoom all the time. And when people say, what do you mean you go to church in New York? I'm like, it's not that far away. It's fine. You can Zoom. It's fine. So I keep trying to invite people to come with me, but It's just the connection with all the people. Everyone is just so great here, and it's like I needed a place where it's accepting of everyone, and this was a perfect fit. Thank you.
I remember hearing a quote here early on. I forgot who it was that said it, but it said that I would rather be in the mountains thinking about God than to be in church thinking about the mountains.
Yeah. Muir. John Muir.
And that sums this up right here. Yep.
Amen. We say, why not do both? Yep. No pressure. Thank you to all who have shared. What beautiful and unique stories we all carry. And it's through sharing our stories like this that I find a powerful reminder that everyone we meet has a story. We may never know what it is. We may get a snippet of somebody's story here or there. But we can move through life honoring each person's unique story simply with kindness and that intention, right? That recognition that maybe there's a lot going on that has led them to being in front of me right now that could explain a lot about who they are and how they're showing up. And I don't need to know it all, but I know they have a story. So we can honor each other's stories with kindness and grace. And so most of all, I want you to hear a big giant thank you, not just to those who shared, but thank each and every one of you for being here, for sharing your stories, for making Church in the Wild a part of your story, and for being what Church in the Wild is. This beautiful patchwork of stories and souls knitted together in the cradle of creation. So thank you for being a part of the community, and thank you for being here today to celebrate this incredible milestone, 5 years. Thank you, Corey.
So I've never done this before, but I used to be a lay leader, so bear with me. I've never done meditation. Okay. I would like us to get comfortable, however that looks for you. Seated, lying down. You may close your eyes or not. But I do want you to make sure your feet are on the ground. Think about your favorite place or favorite space you may have. It may be here, your backyard, a park, a beach, wherever you are comfortable and relaxed. Bring your awareness to your feet, the furthest spot from your mind. Feel them rooted beneath you. The ground is not moving. You are here and you are safe. Take one big breath in and then a big exhale. Let it flow into the earth. Flow through your feet and out of you. We all come here from different places with problems, things that may cause us anxiety, but also things that make us happy. But we are here right now. Right now is happening. The past is over. The future has not happened. Take another big breath in and exhale it out with a big sigh. You are here. You are safe. You are seen. And you are loved. The gentle breeze around us reminds us to be gentle to ourselves. We all need this reminder to care for ourselves. Can't care for others if we don't take the space for ourselves. The birds sing back and forth and remind us that we need others in our lives. No one is an island, nor should we try to live like one. Community is important. This community is a lifeline for so many. Everything is green around us this time of year. To me, this represents new days are coming and your current circumstances are not permanent. Large trees around us stay rooted despite strong storms. By being here, we are learning ways to get and stay rooted. It helps us during tough times. We carry these lessons into our daily lives. The sun shining on the water makes it sparkle. Don't let your sparkle dull because of circumstances or other people. Like when the rain comes down to nourish the land, so too when our tears fall, it is nourishing to our spirits. Time spent in a forest or in nature can be cleansing to our souls. Take the time to nourish yourself all year. Soak up the sunlight or sit out in the rain. You won't regret the time. Awake your soul. Invest in yourself. Give your soul space to breathe. Inhale deeply, and then another big sigh out. Let these words settle into you. I release what does not bring me peace. I release what does not bring me peace. Try to remember these words and use them when you need them. They can bring you calm despite chaos. Whenever you feel anxious, move your thoughts to your feet, the furthest spot from your mind. It gets you out of your mind and into your body. And as we close and you start to bring movement to your body, we take another big breath in and another big breath out. I'm borrowing a line to end it, to remind us all. The tide is rising, and so are we. This is where we are called to be.
Deep peace of running wave to you. Deep peace of flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the source of peace to you. And we sing peace, salam, shalom. 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 Thanks for listening. If you want to support Church in the Wild and the work we do in striving for environmental and social justice, just head on over to our website, churchinthewild.org, and click the donate link at the top. There you can make a donation, set yourself up as a recurring supporter, or you can buy something from our Redbubble shop. We're so glad you're with us on this journey, following the Spirit through creation, adventure, and restoration. Until next time.